Coulter, of course, the best-selling author, great columnist. You can get her column at AnnCoulter.com. But right now, I think you can pre-order her new book, big blockbuster book coming out called Resistance is Futile. And it's great to have her with us. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
I'm exhausted. I've been reading my book all week. You can also get it on audio. And what a week to be locked in a soundproof room reading my book. Wow, what a blockbuster week. But I did see some of the coverage yesterday. And I've been dying to ask you, who do you think had to call Joe Scarborough last night and wake him up to tell him that he was going to have to scrap his whole opening statement about Trump causing the shooting at the Maryland newspaper?
Well,
I mean, I did see some of MSNBC yesterday when I finished, and pretty much all day, this was, and you saw the head of the AP, this guy, Rob Cox, sent out a tweet immediately in response to the shooting, and it's a horrible shooting, saying, Trump, you caused this, you put a target on our back, and then much later, Ali Velshi going wild all day about how this was Trump ginning up hatred for journalists. Oh, HuffPo had a headline saying that yesterday was the most deadly day for journalists since 9/11. I didn't realize 9/11 was an attack on the U.S. media.
Well, you remember when Gabby Giffords was shot, I saw all these people posting, Bill O'Reilly should be ashamed of himself, Fox News. Well, it turned out the shooter was an MSNBC viewer who loved Obama and hated Bush.
Yeah, atheist pothead. Yeah. And yesterday's shooter had a beef with this newspaper, sued them for defamation, had been basically stalking them on Twitter. And by the way, I mean, even before we knew what the answer was, it kind of looked like it wasn't a Trump supporter ginned up by the fake news media. Why would you go to some small newspaper in Annapolis? You'd go to the Washington Post or you know, it didn't make any sense anyway. But all day yesterday, oh my gosh, they were so excited. And then, as your listeners probably know by now, it was this nut. It had absolutely nothing to do with Trump or fake news or that, I mean, the one thing we got out of this, that hilarious joke by Milo, I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Some obnoxious reporter was taunting him, and he emailed or tweeted back to the guy something like, I can't wait for the day when vigilante crowds start gunning down journalists. Obviously a joke.
Well, that's a little...
and by the way, a very funny joke.
That's not a fun... You can't say that stuff.
Oh, it's so hyperbolic, it's silly.
Oh, but, you know... Hey,
no, don't you join the speech police. When you say something that ridiculously hyperbolic, nobody is going to see that. People are going to laugh.
Oh, all right. Hey, what about the Supreme Court?
Oh, this is such great news. I came out of the taping booth and found that out and was so sad I couldn't go to Twitter at that moment. But I will be back on Twitter after 4th of July. Now I need a small break. But I mean, I'll still be tweeting, but not intensively until sometime after 4th of July. This is going to be so great. This is really going to help the midterm elections because the left is going berserk, absolutely berserk. We have now gone to the one core important issue for the Democratic Party, abortion on demand. I mean, at this point, the main reason I want Roe overturned is just to show what silly ninnies Democrats have been on this. If Roe is overturned, I promise you will still be able to get an abortion in Illinois, New York, California. There might be a few states that will, I would bet you there will not be more than 3 states that will ban abortion except in the case of life of a mother and rape. And then most states are just going to have a little more regulation about things like parental notification, spousal notification, no late-term abortions, that sort of thing, regulating abortion clinics, making them safer. That's going to be what the bulk of them will do. And in all of the blue states, it will be legal until, sometime after birth. So they're really being hysterical, but not only have we hit something that's going to drive them crazy, drive liberals crazy, but the ones who care the most about abortion in the Supreme Court happen to be be the most physically repulsive members of the Democratic Party and the left-wing intelligentsia. So this could not be better timing for the midterms.
Well, they're so upset about Kennedy leaving. Now, they're so hysterical. If Ruth Bader Ginsburg even coughs, they're going to have a heart attack. They're just trying to keep her alive forever now.
Yeah, I was surprised. In fact, I'd just been talking to a friend the night before about whether Kennedy would be retiring soon, and I said no, only because if you were a lawyer and somewhat intellectual, there's no better job than being on the Supreme Court.
That's
why,
job.
How did we lose Scalia when he died?
It's a terrible job.
Oh, it's a fantastic job. So I bet you within the year, I think this probably means Kennedy's on his last legs. That would be my guess. Because they are going to hold on till the end. Obviously, Ruth Bader Ginsburg will. But, one thing that's being said over and over again that I think requires some disputing is that this is exactly the same situation as when Scalia died unexpectedly during a presidential election year. Well, no, we have a democracy. The Supreme Court nominees get nominated by the president and confirmed by the United States Senate. When that happened, it was a Democratic president and a Republican Senate. They weren't going to vote for an Obama nominee. He wasn't getting through because it was a majority Republican Senate. So by not holding the vote, all Mitch McConnell was doing really was sparing Merrick Garland from embarrassment and going through the routine, the charade of a hearing when he wasn't getting through. He wasn't going to get through in a Republican with a Republican Senate in a presidential election year. That is quite different. Trump is still going to be president after the midterm elections. The Senate will probably still be in Republican hands. The reason they're upset is, well, number one, it's their core defining issue, abortion on demand. Number two, they don't want to force. Look at Tester, Heidi Heidkamp, all these Democratic governors up for re-election, or not governors, senators up for re-election this year in states that Trump took overwhelmingly. They're in a tough spot.
Yeah, but there's nobody who really thinks the Democrats will take the Senate. So you can wait till the midterms. It's not going to affect anything. There's no reason to wait.
No, not only that, as I say, this is a very, very, very good issue for the midterm elections for Republicans. Yeah. You might lose a few, soccer moms in the suburbs for some congressional districts, but they would have been tough anyway. But by and large, the Trump base, women whose husbands lost their job at the foundry, and kids are being tempted with Mexican heroin. You think their number one issue is whether there has to be a waiting period for abortion? No, this is not going to be good for the Democrats.
Hey, Ann Coulter, before we run out of time, this woman, Cortez, 28-year-old socialist, she won, beat the old swamp guy Crowley in New York. What does this mean, the Democrats getting all crazy in love with a socialist now? Is that the way to go for them?
Well, I think the main point I've been warning people about forever, the fun things that will happen if Trump doesn't keep his promises on the wall on deportations, and we lose our country, is it's not just the end of the Republican Party, it's the end of the Democratic Party as we know it. Look at California for your future. As the president of I think it was Malaysia said some years ago, the problem with a multi-ethnic society is people stop voting their cultural interest, their social interest, their economic interest. They vote their ethnic group. And the Democratic Party, notice how all the Democrats, the prominent Democrats, they're all one step from the grave, got one foot in the grave. It's Nancy Pelosi and Di-Fi and Steny Hoyer, Joe Biden. They're all old white people. All the young Democrats and actually the California legislature, it's the Hispanic Democrats against the Asian Democrats, and soon we'll have the Muslim Democrats. This is the end of white men in the Democratic Party, so they can keep pushing for open borders, but they're writing their death warrants too.
Well, maybe if they see these Hispanics primarying him out of the race, maybe they'll pay for the wall then.
By the time they realize how stupid they've been, it'll probably be too late.
Oh, Ann Coulter's new book. You can pre-order it now, right, on Amazon?
Yes, you can.
And it's called Resistance is Futile.
How the Trump-hating left lost its collective mind.
So go to Amazon, pre-order the book, and because when you pre-order, you always get it before everybody else. It's Ann Coulter's new book, and you can order I'd rather have the real book, but you can get the talking book.
Yes, and it has pretty much everything except a few sight gags.
Oh, okay. So everybody go order that right now. Go to Amazon and order Ann Coulter's new book, Resistance is Futile. Also, you can see the cover, right? It's a great cover.
Yes, that's been finalized now.
All right, so go to Amazon and do that, and then go to AnnCoulter.com. You can see her latest column and follow Ann Coulter on Twitter. Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, and happy 4th of July, Mark
Happy
Simone.
4th of July. Take care.